What's your favorite topic of conversation in a social setting?
My favorite topic of conversation, I would say, is movies. My husband and I are big movie buffs. We go all the time. We love to talk about different movies that we've seen, different actors, directors, things like that. We like to talk about other things too, music, books, um, food, all kinds of different things. But I would say movies are probably my favorite.
Where do you get your recipes, and how do you put your own personal twist on the recipes?
I get a lot of my recipes from magazines and TV shows. Kitchen Boss is one of my favorites. I also watch Rachel Ray's 30-Minute Meals a lot. And I like to just put my own twist on them by substituting different ingredients. Maybe if there's one thing in there that I don't like, I'll substitute, a different herb, a different kind of vegetables. So I just kind of combine things together and mix it up a little bit to make it my own.
How would you rate your skill level when it comes to baking, decorating, and pastries and desserts?
I would say that my skill level for baking is probably average. I bake a lot at work, but it's mostly from mixes, so I don't do a whole lot of baking from scratch. I would say decorating, I'm definitely on an advanced level. I do that every day for paying clients. I make wedding cakes and a lot of big elaborate cakes, so I think my skill level for that is pretty high. Pastries and desserts, I would say probably a beginner level. I don't have a whole lot of experience with that. I've made some simple desserts at home, but nothing really too complicated.
Describe the types of elaborate cakes you've made, and could you make a five-tier wedding cake in an hour if challenged? And what's the largest cake you've ever made?
I've made some pretty elaborate cakes. Really nothing larger than 3 tiers. That's the biggest I've ever made. Um, some of the cakes that I've made, I made a really cool 3-tier cake for a friend's benefit. It was covered in fondant. It had different cutout shapes all over it and different borders. And I colored all of the fondant myself and rolled it out and made all the different decorations for it. And it was just a fun, colorful, festive kind of cake that we sold at an auction for a charity. Um, so really the biggest I've made, like I said, are 3-tier wedding cakes. That's generally the biggest that we do at work. But I think I definitely could go bigger and more elaborate. And I definitely think that with the right materials and tools, I could do a 5-layer cake in an hour.
Describe your construction and technical abilities. What's the hardest cake you've designed and made?
As far as construction goes, I think I'm pretty good with the basics. I know how to use tear separators and dowel rods to give my cakes more support. I haven't really done anything as far as like sculpting or crazy shapes with my cakes. And the most elaborate ones I've done are probably the wedding cakes that I make at work. I pretty routinely make 2 to 3 tier wedding cakes with different piping and different decorations, however my client wants it done.
How would, how would you rate your decorating skills when under time constraints? And are you usually happy with the end results?
I would say that under time constraints, I usually perform pretty well. I always have time limits at work. Um, my cake orders have to be picked up in a certain order and at certain times, and it's very important to have them done on time when my client comes to pick them up. Um, so I would say that I do well under pressure. It motivates me, it gets me going, and I think it helps me to do well and to get things done on time. I do sometimes get frustrated or stressed out, but I think usually I just use it as a motivator to keep me going and keep me on track.
What, in your opinion, makes a great cake decorator, and what makes someone a bad cake
In my opinion, a good or great cake decorator is someone who really listens to their client. You have to give the person that you're decorating for exactly what they want. It's okay to put your own spin into it and your own personality into it, but most important of all is pleasing your client. I think a bad decorator is someone who doesn't do that, and also someone who doesn't really have an artistic flair for it. You have to know what colors go well together, what types of decorations go well together, and I think you have to have an eye for symmetry and scale. You don't want your cake to be too plain, but you also don't want it to be too busy. So you have to keep all of that in mind.
How do you think you'll handle the quick fire type challenges and working in a group for bigger challenges? Answer both. What do you think will be your strengths and weaknesses?
I think on the quick fire challenges, they are going to be very challenging for me because it's going to be new and different things that I'm not used to doing on a daily basis. I think that I'll do well in them because I'll really be motivated and I'll try really hard and try and keep the time limits in mind and get the entire project accomplished in time. I think in group projects I'm going to do pretty well. I generally work well in a group. I don't have a problem either being a leader or a follower, whatever's needed of me to get the project done.
What kind of role do you generally play in groups?
I would say generally I'm just one of the group, working towards the goal, trying to get all of our work done. However, I do have leadership experience. I have management experience at work. And so I don't have a problem with stepping into a position of authority or a position of leadership if that's what is needed of me to get our goal accomplished.
Are you competitive? Why? How? And if so, give examples.
I would say that I am competitive. I really like to push myself and to excel at my work. I would say I'm competitive with different activities I do with friends, with board games and video games and things like that. I don't really get a bad temper, but I do like to win. So I think that any challenge or competition is fun for me because I do really like to win.
If you're up against other contestants, will you be competitive in order to win the cash and prizes? How far will you go to win?
I think against other contestants, I will be really competitive to win cash and prizes. Like I said, I come from a small town. I work in a grocery store, so I don't really have a lot. I haven't really done a lot yet, and I'm really eager to prove what I can do and to get as much out of this experience as possible and to win everything I possibly can.
How do you handle stressful situations? How do you react?
I think in stressful situations, I just try to use the stress as a motivator. I have to think, okay, how do I get this challenge completed as quickly and thoroughly and as well as possible? And I think it just makes my gears start going. It makes me think faster and work faster, and it just pushes me towards finishing my goal.
Please describe the most stressful time in your life and how you reacted and handled it.
I think the most stressful time in my life is probably actually right now. Right now, I am training to be a manager at my store. I'm also currently the only cake decorator at my store, which is a very busy bakery. Our other cake decorator had an injury, and so she's not able to decorate right now. So I've been handling all of our clients, all of our dessert cakes, birthday cakes, and everything that we do, which is quite a lot. So it's been really stressful, but I think I've handled it really well. I've been keeping up with our volume of orders and trying to maintain a high quality at the same time. So it's been difficult, but I think I'm doing a good job at striking a balance.
What does baking and cake decorating mean to you? Has it ever gotten you through a hard time?
Baking and decorating is so important to me. I've always been creative. I've always been into art. But when I started decorating, I really felt like this was my outlet. This was what I was meant to do. So it's something that's really, really important to me. I don't think it's necessarily gotten me through a particular hard situation, but at work when I'm stressed out and I feel that I have too much to do, I do feel like the actual process of decorating calms me down because, like Buddy says, you just get in the zone and you have to focus on what you're doing in order to do a really good job on the project you're working on at the time. So I think it keeps me calm, but it keeps me driven at the same time.
Why do you want to be on the show?
I want to be on the show just to prove what I can do. I'm really looking to branch out on my own and become a successful baker in my own right. And I'm just looking to prove to everyone that this is what I'm meant to do. It's my career, not a hobby. And I just want to show what I can do and prove myself.
Why will America want to watch you? What will you have to offer as a cast member on the show? What will you bring to the table, and why are you good for TV?
I think America will want to watch me because I'm really relatable, I'm really friendly, I'm just the girl next door, and I think that they'll be rooting for me to win because I seem like somebody that they would know, that they would be friends with or live near. I think what I bring to the show is just a fresh outlook, a lot of enthusiasm, and really just a huge determination and will to succeed. And I just think that what I'll contribute to the show is a lot of energy and a really positive outlook and attitude, and I think that people will have fun watching me compete.
Why should we pick you to be on the series? What makes you unique and different from everyone else?
You should pick me to be on your show because you've never had a grocery store decorator in your show before. So I bring a whole different experience, a whole different set of skills, and a whole different perspective to it. And you should pick me to be on your show because I have a lot to prove, I have a lot to show and offer, and I think I would really make your show great and make it one that people would enjoy watching. So thank you for your time, and please put me on The Next Great Baker Season 2.